Have you ever felt as if you were living inside a whirlwind? You look at your life, overwhelming work, complicated relationships, cluttered belongings, and a restless mind, and you decide to fix it. You try to make plans, you try to change habits. You tidy your desk and promise yourself this time will be different. Yet, with just one small unexpected incident, all that order collapses as if it had never existed. Why does this happen? Why do our best efforts at organizing our lives often fail? The answer is uncomfortable, but liberating. Because the chaos does not lie on your desk, in your schedule, or in your cramped room. The chaos lies deep in your mind, in the unconscious. What exhausts you is not the unfinished tasks, but the silent conflict between the outside and the inside, between who you pretend to be and who you truly are. Carl Jung, one of the greatest psychologists of the 20th century, believed that for life to have real order, one cannot merely arrange the surface. We must compel ourselves to enter a deeper journey. Today, we are not looking for short-term productivity hacks. We are walking a map that leads from chaos to order and from confusion to unity. To organize your life, you must first identify the enemy, and often that enemy is the state of living on autopilot. When we live in the unconscious, there are days when you might stop in the middle of a busy afternoon, look around and ask yourself, what am I doing? Am I truly living, or am I just being swept away? That fleeting moment is the fog lifting. It reveals the truth that for most of the time, we are simply reacting to preset scripts. We wake up to the alarm, go to work out of duty, converse by formula, and feel sadness or joy according to the buttons others press. Life flows like a machine, pre-programmed by someone else. Carl Jung wrote a sentence that pierces the heart of this problem. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. This is the harsh truth. We think we have choices, but in reality, the unconscious, with its old wounds, buried memories, and silent beliefs, is quietly arranging every reaction. Consider the story of a successful man I once knew. He had a stable career and a good income. Yet, every time he began a relationship, he fell into the exact same cycle: suspicion, control, quarrels, and finally a breakup. He lamented, maybe it is just my fate to be alone. But when he looked through the lens of Jungian psychology, he realized it wasn't fate. As a child, he had witnessed his parents constantly fighting and divorcing. The fear of abandonment was buried deep in his unconscious, forcing him to act vigilantly and possessively, inadvertently creating the very abandonment he feared. This is inner chaos. It is the state of being controlled by the unconscious without knowing it. Organizing your life begins here. Imagine your unconscious as a dark room full of scattered furniture. You cannot tidy it if you cannot see it. Recognizing chaos is the act of turning on the light. It doesn't clean the room immediately, but for the first time you can see where the mess is and you can stop stumbling in the dark. Once the light is on, we must face what is inside the room. In the journey of forcing yourself to organize your life, two major obstacles create the most clutter: the shadow and the persona. There is a territory in our psyche that is difficult to reach, yet it is the most crucial to organize. Jung called it the shadow. Many people think the shadow is just evil, anger, violence, or selfishness. But according to Jung, the shadow is simply everything we refuse to admit is ours. It is the dark bin where we throw everything we don't want to face: our suppressed emotions, our unacknowledged desires, our weaknesses, and even our hidden talents. When you bury these things, they don't disappear. They grow in the dark, and because they are unorganized and unacknowledged, they dominate us. Have you ever felt a sudden, irrational rage over a small issue, or an intense, inexplicable jealousy when a colleague succeeds? That is the shadow speaking. It is reminding you that there is a part of you that has been forgotten. I remember a woman in her 30s who was outwardly gentle, always praised as a good listener. Yet, in love, she lived in constant anxiety, obsessively checking her partner's phone. She couldn't understand why she acted this way. Deep inside, she had a shadow of immense insecurity and a fear of being insufficient, which she had never dared to face. By denying that vulnerability, she let it secretly dominate her, causing her relationships to collapse again and again. A practical way to see your shadow is to observe projection. When you intensely dislike someone for no clear reason, often what you hate in them is what you deny in yourself. Organizing your life means having the courage to take back those projections. Instead of criticizing others, you ask, "Is this the part of me I have not dared to face?" When you accept the shadow, you stop fighting yourself. If the shadow is what we hide, the persona is what we show. In Jungian psychology, the persona is the mask we wear to be accepted by society. It is the role of the model employee, the perfect parent, or the strong leader. We need masks to protect ourselves and function in society. But the chaos begins when we become the mask. We mistake the role for our true identity. Consider the tragedy of the perfect mother. I knew a woman who everyone admired. Her house was spotless, her children well-behaved, her husband happy. But when the door closed and she was finally alone in her kitchen, she felt a crushing emptiness. She was exhausted to the point of silence. She had spent so much energy polishing the mask that she had suffocated the woman underneath. She confessed, "I don't know who I really am beyond this role." This is a specific type of disorder, the loss of the true self. Organizing your life requires you to surgically detach the mask from your face. It doesn't mean you stop being a mother or an employee. It means you realize, I am playing a role, but this role is not the whole of me. You must ask yourself, am I doing this because I truly want to, or just to maintain the image? When you detach from the persona, you give yourself permission to be human. You can say, I am tired, when you are tired. You can admit failure without shame. This honesty clears out the immense psychological clutter of pretending, leaving you with a foundation that is solid, real, and ready for true order. Once you have faced the shadow and loosened the mask, how do you actually build the structure of a new life? The answer lies in two powerful tools: inner discipline and the courage to let go. We often misunderstand discipline. We think of it as punishment, as a cage that restricts us. But in the Jungian view, discipline is the ultimate form of freedom. Imagine your life energy as a powerful river. If there are no banks, no boundaries, the water flows wildly. It floods the fields, destroys the villages, and eventually turns into a stagnant swamp. This is a life without discipline, governed by fleeting emotions and impulsive reactions. But with firm embankments, that same water becomes a directed flow, capable of generating power and nourishing life. Inner discipline is the act of building those riverbanks. It is not about being rigid. It is about creating a container for your energy. Practicing this starts with a simple pause. When you feel the urge to buy something to fill an emotional void, pause for 5 seconds. When anger rises and you want to scream, pause. In that tiny gap between stimulus and response, you step in. You engage your prefrontal cortex, the conscious part of your brain, to override the autopilot of the unconscious. You ask, is this action serving my true self or my shadow? That pause is where you reclaim your life. But building banks is not enough if the river is choked with debris. To organize life, you must learn the art of subtraction. There is a profound paradox in ordering your life. To gain more peace, you must have less. We live in a culture of accumulation. More friends, more commitments, more possessions. But true order requires the courage to cut away the unessential. Think of the figure of Siddhartha in literature, who left a palace of gold to seek enlightenment. He realized that to find truth, he had to let go of the comforts that blinded him. For us, this means looking at our packed schedules and our long lists of obligations with a critical eye. I once met a successful executive who was on the verge of a breakdown. She accepted every invitation, joined every committee, and helped every friend. Because she was terrified of missing out or being disliked. Her life was full, yet she was empty. During therapy, she learned the painful but necessary act of letting go. She identified 3 core priorities for her life and started saying no to everything else. It was terrifying at first. She felt she was losing opportunities. But, slowly, the space she created allowed her to breathe. By pruning the dead branches, the tree of her life began to bear fruit again. Organizing your life is asking the hard question: does this belief, this relationship, or this habit still serve who I am becoming? If the answer is no, you must let it go. An empty space is not a lack. It is a fertile field where the new you can finally grow. We have spoken much about the mind, but we cannot ignore the world around us. Jung famously said, "Who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakes." However, he also understood that the outer world is a mirror of the inner world. You cannot maintain a calm soul in a chaotic room. Conversely, you cannot keep a tidy room for long if your soul is in turmoil. The next step in forcing yourself to organize your life is creating harmony. Imagine your soul is a house and your physical life is the garden. If the house is clean but the garden is a jungle of weeds and trash, you will never feel at peace. I recall a client who was a high-level manager. She was brilliant but suffered from chronic anxiety. She tried meditation and yoga, but her mind remained racing. Her therapist didn't give her a complex psychological exercise. Instead, he told her, "Clean your desk." Her physical workspace was a disaster zone of piled papers and old coffee cups. She thought it was trivial. But as she organized the papers and threw away the trash, something shifted. The physical act of ordering her environment sent a signal to her brain. Neuroscience shows that visual clutter competes for our neural attention, exhausting our cognitive resources. By clearing the external noise, she gave her internal voice room to speak. Creating harmony isn't just a chore, it is a ritual. When you make your bed in the morning, you are not just folding sheets. You are telling your unconscious mind that you are in charge. You are setting a standard of order for the day. When the inside and the outside move together in the same rhythm, you no longer have to fight to be organized. It becomes a natural state of being. Ultimately, forcing yourself to organize your life is not about becoming a perfectly neat machine. It is not about having a color-coded calendar or a minimalist home just for show. The destination of this journey is what Jung called the self. The self is the center of your wholeness. It is the place where the shadow and the light are reconciled, where the persona is used but not believed, and where discipline flows naturally from a desire to honor your life. When you arrange your life, you are clearing the path back to this center. When a person lives from the self, they radiate a different kind of order. It is not rigid or forced. It is a quiet, steady strength. They feel safe to be around because they are unified. So, do not wait for the perfect moment. Do not wait until you feel ready. Start today. Turn on the light in the dark room of your mind. Admit the messy emotions. Say no to one unnecessary obligation. Tidy one corner of your desk. As Jung reminded us, the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. Organize your life, not to please the world, but to clear the space for you to finally exist. And now, I have a small request. If you are ready to stop drifting and start building true order, let's make a commitment right now. Don't let this be just another video you watch and forget. Scroll down and comment the word discipline. Let this single word be your first brick in building a solid foundation for your life today. If this video brought you a moment of clarity, please like it. Your like helps this message reach those who are still struggling in the whirlwind of chaos. And to continue exploring the depths of your mind and unlocking your true potential, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. We are on this journey together. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.